All right, guys, we have Dylan Sampson here. If you have a question, raise your hand. Mary Kay, are you good to go?
Yep.
All right.
Uh, Hey, Dylan, we heard from Kevin Stefanski today that he has named Shador Sanders the starter for the final four games of the season. And I'm just wondering, what impact does that have on you personally and maybe, you guys just as a football team?
Um, I mean, we're still gonna go and prepare the same way we've been preparing, like how he's been named the starter these past two games. Um, we such a all we have is this week, so we just gonna prepare like we've been preparing.
And just what, I know I talked to you a little bit about this yesterday, but just what have you seen? Where have you seen the most growth in him over the past three starts?
Just him getting comfortable within the scheme and stuff, but I feel like mainly just building the chemistry with just our offense, our skill players, our offensive line. I can see that growing day in, day out at practice, and you can see it showing up in the game.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Dylan, you mentioned that chemistry on the offense for you guys in the run game. How have you seen maybe in games that the run game isn't able to get going, and you enter that next week of preparation? How do you see you guys kind of working together to try to build on that, to try to find maybe blocking lanes for you guys to create some of that chemistry to improve it in the next week?
Yeah, I think it just starts with the preparation, have to, dissect Chicago's film and, you know, really see what they do well and kind of what they lack against and just taking every practice and every day intentional, meeting with the O-line, making sure we're all on the same point. When it gets time to Sunday, it's just, about effort and physicality, and we have full trust that collectively we'll be able to do that.
How big of a challenge then is it to when all the injuries to the offensive line, Ethan Posick out for the season now, and the kind of the change at tackles and guard. How difficult is that chemistry, and what does that look like for you guys as you have swapped in offensive linemen trying to work with them?
Yeah, nobody ever wants to see like an injury, like Pose, I pray that, he heals up, in great time and quickly. But definitely playing that O-line position is a hard position to play, especially that center position. You kind of lead the charge, you make the calls, and you bring all those guys together. So those five up front, it's one of the only positions who don't sub out during the game. So it's a testament to the chemistry that you build and you build from off season to the season, So it's a physical position. You have to be smart to play that position. But it's the league. You're gonna deal with injuries, and now it's time for guys to step up and take advantage of their opportunity. And we have full confidence that they will.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Ashley.
Hey Dylan, I know I talked to you yesterday about that next play mentality you have after a play like the fumble, and then you come back and, next drive, have some successful gains. But like Quinshawn, since you've worked so much with him, when there's that moment with the Wildcat, it doesn't work out at the end of the game like that. Like, how are you trying to pick him up as somebody you've spent a lot of time with and handling a moment like that?
I think sometimes, it's just when you develop connections with players, I mean, he's the type of person where, sometimes you don't need to say anything. I know that moment kind of hurt because it was almost like there is no like next play mentality, with that play. But all you could do is come in the next day and you let everybody know that we got your back. The same way my teammates did with me. Nobody wants to mess up. Nobody, we don't like do this intentionally. It's gonna happen. Plays are gonna be made. So, now it's about just adjusting and bouncing back this week, and Quinshawn, like we built that relationship where, I know what it is with him, and he know what it is with me. So we lift each other up and, we just keep making sure we ready to go mentally and physically.
And then just for you in the pass game yesterday, I know you caught 5 of 6 targets, and you've had other games like that where you catch like all your targets or all but one of your targets. Can you just talk about your connection with Shador on some of those plays? And you've talked before about when you went through that stretch of not getting a ton of touches, how important it is for you to capitalize when they come your way.
Yeah, so it's a fine line you got to walk because you don't want to make yourself feel too much pressure or make the moment bigger than what it is. It just goes back to routine. If there's certain routes that I have in the game plan or certain things that I know we practice on, Shador pulled me after practice and we work on them, work on the landmarks, work on the different looks. And so when it comes in the game, it's just a routine thing when we get the look that we want, it's something we practice. He talks in the huddle. He talks to me when we get out the huddle, like go in on this route. I got you, stuff like that. So, I mean, we got somebody like that. It's like, you got to make a play. So, it's definitely nice having that, but it's just due to the work that we put in prior to game day.
All right, next we go to Jeff.
Hey, Dylan, how would you chart your own progress through 13 games now?
Um, I could definitely see consistent growth. Just been a kind of up and down battle kind of throughout the middle of the stretch of the season with playing time and stuff. But I could definitely, you know, feel me getting my feet in the ground, getting more comfortable in this league, and I'm continuing to grow each and every game. So I'm learning from the positives and the negatives. So I think I'm definitely trending in the right direction.
And then blitz pickup and the blocking that we don't concentrate on, how's that improved for you?
I think when I do get an opportunity to either help chip or pick up blitz or recognize blitz, it's not a problem. I'm gonna go in there and give my all to make sure that that person doesn't touch our quarterback.
All right, thank you.
All right, and last one from Scott.
Hey, Dylan, the rookie class, as I've said, such a huge impact. But there's been ups and downs. We saw some of those yesterday. Do you think that's just natural that there's going to be growing pains when you're playing as many rookies as you guys are?
Yes, it's definitely. I mean, you have at one point on the field, all the skill players were rookies besides Jerry Judy. I mean, but I don't think there's any other team whose rookies are contributing as much as this, just collectively. So I mean, coaches understand it, but it's not an excuse. We go to practice, we go to work, it's time to grow, and I believe that is what we're doing, week in, week out, but we got each other back and we just gonna keep on growing and climbing, and continue to try to impact this team in a positive way.
You hear that phrase, he's not a rookie anymore because he's been in the league, because it's weak, whatever. Do you still feel like a rookie though out there?
I never even tried to like feel like that. I just always felt like a football player, just trying to learn and take my game to another level. And that's all it is. I mean, even if it's not a whole bunch of rookies out there, it's still other people who are liable to make those same mistakes, who've been in the league for 6 years, 7 years. It's football. And ultimately it comes down to, did you make the play when you needed to make the play? That's the difference between a lot of these close games. And I believe we will continue to grow in that area and make those plays and not give up those negative plays, when they need to happen.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps us up. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
y'all.